Early childhood for me was really traumatizing. My mother was bipolar schizophrenic, and she would have these mood swings. In between the fun of skateboarding and knowing that I would have to go home was daunting. My stepfather came into the picture, and my brother was born. His diapers wouldn't be changed, and he'd be crying, and I would make sure that he was doing all right.
It'd be fights between my mom and my dad. He would like hold my ears so I wouldn't hear it as a kid, you know.
3 or 4 times a week, police would show up at our house. They would ask me questions like, why do you have so many bruises? Why do you have cigarette burns? And by the time I was 15, I had been removed from the home, and I was adopted by one of my friend's moms. She had her own addictions in the background that ultimately led to the beginning of a path of real destruction. My foster brother shot me up with heroin for the first time, and I started to get addicted to the feeling of evading police and being a vagabond.
It came down for Rob to a bag full of clothes, and that was it. He would just come to my place where I was staying with my dad, and he would take like something I had, like a game, and he would definitely be using that money to sell it for drugs.
I ended up robbing 67 cars on my way to the train station, and I went straight to California. Being on the other side of the country, I felt like I could breathe. I ended up meeting a friend at Oceanside Bus Transportation Center. I was gonna go up to San Francisco, and he was also a medicinal marijuana grower. So I ended up just living out of his house and learning how to do the grow op. It was a party house, everything from prostitutes to narcotics to alcohol to methamphetamine, things that an average 16-year-old kid probably shouldn't have been around. And it grew really cold. And I just walked into I think it was like a Circle K or something of that sort. And I just remember being like, call the police. After I got picked up and flown back to New Jersey, I'd been handcuffed at Newark Airport, and I was on probation for a year and some change. Immediately after I finished probation, I started getting back into the same thing.
You would see Robby pop in back and forth like periodically. He was always come and go.
Eventually, I started having severe cardiac issues. I had my first open heart surgery. It was about 2 months after recovery. I had a girlfriend, and I moved down to Tennessee. I ended up finding out that she was cheating on me with her ex. I had a double over under Yakisawa shotgun, and I held it up to my face, and I was gonna do it. And instead I blew it off into the wall. This landed me a nice stint in the psychiatric unit. I finally had reached that point where I was broken beyond being destitute. I came back to New Jersey. I reached out to Market Street Mission, and that was it.
My impression was of a young guy who didn't have a lot of support.
I had an idea as to who Christ was and how he could help others, but I didn't see him helping me. I had found immense support just through the various staff. Debbie was like a mother figure.
Each day, each week, each month, his tank was a little fuller.
I was doing full-time school and doing full-time internship.
I realized that he could go further. That's when he got interested in wanting to go all the way through for social work.
That created an astounding foundation for my life outside of here. Through Market Street Mission, I met who became my wife.
I completely surrendered my dating life beginning of December that year. And I just remember sitting in my room crying, and I was like, God, I don't want to be alone. Fast forward, Robby and I meet, and Robby was gonna go visit his grandparents in New Hampshire for a few days. And he pulls out this gold ring, and on the ring it says, "You are not alone," and gives it to me. And so 8 days after that, I knew I was gonna marry him.
It's nothing short of impressive what God does when he weaves stories together.
I think back to that anxious kid that came to the mission, and I look at him now, and I see this vibrant, young Christian man, and then is also a peer recovery specialist with Hackensack Meridian, Jersey Shore, who we work with all the time as a mission. And that is the work of God in his life. And he's using his gifts.
I just really admire him. And now that he's pouring out to others and helping them to be brave is just really, really great.
He's the change that we want to see.
It's great to have Robby back now because I look in his eyes and I finally see that he's on the right road.
I'm so grateful that Market Street Mission is such an integrated part of this community and is surrounding people with love and support and hope when they need it most.
Each person on staff here has nothing but love for each individual that comes through.
If you look at Robby's story, you just can see how when you keep taking that next step forward, you'll look back and realize how far you've come.